Lionel Messi was born to hold the golden trophy, yet the universe seems hell-bent on keeping it just out of his reach. This isn't just a story about a tournament, it is the final chapter of the greatest narrative in sports history. For 2 decades, we have watched the man redefine physics. We saw the impossible dribbles in 2005. We saw the Champions League dominance in 2009. We saw the 4 consecutive Ballon d'Or awards that left the rest of the world fighting for second place. But there is a massive, hollow silence in his trophy cabinet where the World Cup should be. Let's look at the math. Messi has played in 5 different World Cups: 2006, 2010, 2014, 2018, and 2022. That is 20 years of heartbreak. In 2006, he was a teenager, a bright-eyed kid watching from the bench as Germany knocked Argentina out on penalties. In 2010, under the chaotic management of Diego Maradona, the team collapsed against Germany again in the quarterfinals. 2014 was the closest miss of all. Mario Götze's volley in the 113th minute shattered Argentine dreams in Rio. Then came the madness of 2018 in Russia, where a disjointed squad couldn't handle the eventual champions, France. But then came 2022, the narrative shift. The stage was set in Qatar. It wasn't just a tournament, it was a mission. Argentina walked in with a 36-game unbeaten streak. They had Angel Di Maria, the ultimate big-game player. They had Emiliano Martinez, a goalkeeper who thrives on mind games and pure adrenaline. And they had a collective squad that finally stopped playing for themselves and started playing for the man with the number 10 on his back. When they lost that opening game to Saudi Arabia, the world laughed. The pundits wrote the obituary of Messi's international career before the first week was even finished. But that loss was the catalyst. It stripped away the pressure and replaced it with a desperate, cold-blooded intensity. Messi scored against Mexico. He scored against Australia. He scored against the Netherlands. He dismantled Croatia with a pass that defied the laws of geometry, turning Josko Gvardiol, one of the best defenders in the world, into a ghost. The final against France was not a football match. It was a Shakespearean drama. Kylian Mbappe scored a hat-trick. It was a direct passing of the torch from the master to the successor. Yet, even when France equalized twice, Messi didn't break. He slotted his penalty in the shootout with the calm of a man who had already accepted his fate. When Gonzalo Montiel stepped up for the final kick, the world held its breath for 4 billion people. When the ball hit the net, the debate ended. The question of whether Messi will win the World Cup is no longer a prediction. It is a historical fact. But the deeper question remains: why did it feel so inevitable? Sport is rarely fair. Greatness does not always get rewarded. You can be the greatest player to ever touch a ball, yet still retire without the ultimate prize. Just look at Johan Cruyff, look at Ferenc Puskás, look at the thousands of legends who finished their careers with nothing but highlights and what-ifs. Messi's win wasn't just about skill. It was about persistence. It was about returning to the arena after every humiliation. It was about accepting that the world would call him a failure until he proved them wrong, and then going out and doing it in the most dramatic fashion humanly possible. Now, consider the legacy. If he hadn't won in Qatar, he would still be the greatest. The stats don't change. The 800-plus career goals, the playmaking, the vision. They are facts independent of a single trophy. But by winning, he closed the gap between the man and the myth. He silenced the critics who claimed he only performed for Barcelona. He silenced those who said he lacked the leadership of Maradona. He didn't just win a trophy. He completed a career. There is a lesson here that transcends soccer. In our own lives, we are often defined by the things we don't have. We are defined by the failures that haunt us, the goals we missed by inches, and the moments where we felt we weren't quite enough. We carry the weight of expectations, both from others and from ourselves. We spend years chasing a version of success that feels like a moving target. Messi spent 16 years chasing the ghost of 1986. He endured the chants, the criticism, and the self-doubt. He watched his contemporaries win and lose, and he kept showing up. He didn't stop when his body started slowing down. He didn't stop when the media called for his retirement. He reinvented his game. He stopped being the explosive winger and became the maestro, controlling the tempo of the entire field from deep in the midfield. He adapted, he evolved, he survived. The 2022 World Cup proves that timing is everything. It proves that you can do everything right and still lose. And it proves that sometimes the stars align just when you are about to walk away for good. So, when we look back at the footage, we don't just see a goal or a save. We see a man who decided that he was not going to leave his destiny to chance. He took the narrative by the throat and forced it to change. He rewrote the ending to his own story. Most people never get their final act. Most people never get the chance to correct the mistakes of their past on the biggest stage on earth. Messi did, and because he did, we are forced to reevaluate what we think is possible. We aren't just cheering for a trophy anymore. We are cheering for the idea that even when the world is stacked against you, even when the time is running out, and even when the shadow of the past is looming over your head, you can still flip the script. The question isn't whether Messi will win. The question is what we do now that the greatest story in sports has finally reached its conclusion. Are we satisfied with the ending, or do we realize that the real value wasn't in the trophy at all? The value was in the journey, the struggle, and the relentless, stubborn refusal to quit. What happens when the man who has won everything is finally finished? When the jerseys are hung up and the stadium lights go dark, the trophy will gather dust. But the lesson remains. Greatness isn't a destination. It's the act of showing up over and over again until the world has no choice but to acknowledge who you are. Messi didn't win the World Cup because he was lucky. He won because he outlasted the doubt. In the end, that is the only way anyone ever truly wins.